We have talked many times about cases of animal abuse in our weekly Find a Friend segment sponsored by Rascal Animal Hospital. But those signs of abuse or neglect aren't always so obvious. At first glance, this may just look like a dog tied up to a backyard chain. It's a situation, though, that can lead to countless problems for the animal. So I am joined today by Stephen Baldwin from ACT Ohio. And Stephen, it's always good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
And you always bring a really cool friend with you today, and Thor is no exception. So tell us about him.
So this is Thor, and our organization, we rescued him while we were following up on a cruelty complaint on the neighbor, actually. And that situation ended up being okay, and then we heard Thor barking, and we asked about him. He's a 2-year-old Mastiff. He's been chained up the entire 2 years. About a year ago, the homeowners, they lost their home, they moved out. They were worried that Thor would be put down at a shelter. So the neighbor just agreed to take care of Thor until the neighbors came back. Well, a year passed, and they never came back.
Okay.
So he's been chained up the entire 2 years in this little mud pit until we got him about 2 weeks ago. Took him over to Rascal. Got him fixed and neutered and everything, and now we're rehabbing him. We're teaching him about the world and how to wear leashes and collars. And
he's ready to play. I mean, he probably feels so much better now. He's been socialized with you, and let's talk about that a little, because what are some of the issues that he had that can happen when you chain up a dog?
Sure. So the first time I approached Thor, he ran straight at me, and if he could have gotten beyond the chain, he would have attacked me. He was very anxious, very wound up, and that's what happens when you chain a dog. A dog that's most likely to bite has nothing to do with the way the dog looks. It has to do a lot with the lack of physical stimulation. The lack of physical stimulation, exactly.
We got you.
The lack of mental stimulation, treats and tricks and working with your dog, and the lack of social experiences, taking your dog out into the world and showing them certain things. And when you chain a dog up and all they can do is run to the end of that chain and bark at things, and they can do nothing else and know nothing else, that's how you create a dangerous dog in the community. Exactly. That's how you create a dog that can become a risk to the community. And so even though there's no legislation currently, although there's some proposed legislation that would make it illegal to tether your dog for too long, even though it's currently not legal, what it does to the dog's emotional well-being is just horrific. It really turns them into dogs that are so wound up and so anxious, and all they want is some love and some attention. So.
And he's obviously gotten that with you in the past 2 weeks. I mean,
Definitely.
He immediately comes up, he's licking you, he wants to play, his tail is wagging. And is it as simple as, you know, in these situations, getting a hold of the dog, making them realize that that is not life?
It is, yeah. You know, dogs see the world in a series of like if-then scenarios. If I see a person run by, then I act this way. If I see another dog, then I act this way. And we can reshape those if-then scenarios. And that's our responsibility as pet owners, if we have dogs, is to give them those experiences and to show them what the world's like and to show them how to respond with positive reinforcement and with high-value treats and to shape these dogs' experience and understanding of the world. That's on us as owners. So when we chain them up and leave them out there and we give them none of that, we're failing these dogs.
Now, in some cases, somebody might feel like they, you know, chain their dog up for maybe a limited amount of time. Or what kind of, I guess, do you say to people who feel like that's the only way that they can have an animal?
If people feel like that's the only way they can have an animal, call me, I'll take the animal, and I will give you a pink flamingo, and you can put it in your yard, or a gnome or something, because these are social animals. They are. These are animals that want to be with their family. I don't use the word pack very often with dogs because they're domesticated, but they're social creatures, they really are. So if that's your only idea of having a pet, like I said, pick a pink flamingo, I'll trade you out, give us a call.
And if somebody notices their neighbor, as you said, this was a situation, if somebody notices they're chained up, do they call you? Is there a way to go about reporting that?
If you suspect animal cruelty or neglect, you always want to call your local authorities. So for instance, here in Franklin County, it would be the Capital Area Humane Society. Wherever you live, you want to start with your local authorities because they have the ability to actually enforce laws. Again, chaining a dog up right now is currently not illegal. However, the humane agent can go out there, they can do a welfare check, and you can find a lot of times situations where they're willing to voluntarily surrender the animal if they know it's going to go to a better place. So even if it may not be illegal, we can still go out, we can do a welfare check, and by we, I mean the local humane agents or your local animal control. So start local and go from there.
Okay. All right. Thor is available for adoption. He is barking for a home. So somebody out there, if you're hearing Thor, you want to take him home, go to ACT Ohio, OH actually. .org, correct?
Correct, actoh.org.
Okay.
And then they go to the adopt link, and they can fill out the adoption application online. It goes to one of our screening counselors, and then we'll get in touch with you.
All right, Stefan, Thor, thanks for being with us. You're going to play very soon, all right, buddy?